Hey, viewer at home, have you ever played a video game before? Well, odds are, especially if you're watching my channel, the answer is yes. But have you ever played a video game before and thought to yourself, how come it's this way? How come this enemy is so frustrating? How come the developer thought that this situation was okay? I wonder what they were thinking. Well, you're going to find out, because today, for our first episode of Developer Dive, this is a new series where I'm going to be talking to different developers of different games, fan games, maybe someday real games, I don't know. We'll see. For those of you familiar with my channel, you know that a few months back, I played a game called Pikmin 2 Kaizo Edition. And those of you who watched that series or know anything about it know how incredibly difficult and frustrating that game could be. And there were a lot of times to myself where I was playing that game and I thought, I want to know what he was thinking. Well, the best part about this day, this series, is that we're going to be able to find it out. So joining me here today, we have the developer of Pikmin 2 Kaizo himself, EBTKS Paddy, to go down and answer some of our questions, as well as provide a little bit of insight on the game that he so lovingly crafted to infuriate me. Paddy, welcome on in.
Hi. This file is basically set up so I can go to anywhere I need to, but I'm specifically want to focus on perplexing pool.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of it.
Sure.
So I remember when you played Kaizo, you mentioned how there wasn't a beady long leg or the bull bear.
Yeah, I was okay. Well, there's at least the bull bear. So that's after the day 31.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's pretty much very little changes to most areas.
Yeah, I mean, there were definitely spots in the campaign, I can specifically think of, the Red Bullborb was changed for a Gatling Groink in the Valley of Repose. I can, the Mammoth Legs in the forest, what the hell is it called? The Awakening Wood. Instead of the Red Bullborb too. I remember that being a specific highlight. That was terrifying.
Yeah, one of the things that I liked of doing with the overworlds is trying to see what I can do with them without making the game crash. That was definitely one of the big things, especially with the Awakening Wood here. Alright, there's gonna be some pellet posing here, the 10, and the 10 over here.
Gotcha.
What's normally right here?
Is it a strawberry? Or is that a snagret, I want to say?
The 20 pellet posing.
Oh, there's a 20 right there? Oh, see, I would
there
not have
used
known
to
that.
be.
Okay, gotcha, sure.
Yeah, I had to remove some things in order to, because the Awakening Wood really liked to crash a lot.
Specifically the Awakening Wood, when you were developing the game, this specific area just was not nice to you?
Pretty much. And
really
what ended up fixing it was the 20 posing.
Oh, you took out the 20 posy and the game just decided, okay, now we're going to work.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's such a random quirk about how the area kind of operates. So I have a question actually that actually isn't on my list, but I might as well ask it now. So when it comes to putting enemies in the overworld, is it kind of a one-to-one thing? You see that there's, two dwarf bull bears and a man at legs, whereas in the vanilla game it's two dwarf red bullborbs and a red bullborb. So could you only replace each enemy and you couldn't necessarily add any enemies?
I could add enemies anywhere, but I don't know the coordinates very well.
Okay.
Specifically stuck with one-to-one replacement.
So then so then my question then becomes, when you were just starting to develop the game, you're mentioning how, the Awakening Wood crashes and that sort of thing. Was there any particular way that you envisioned the game? Like any particular way you want it to be?
Not in the overworld sense.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly focused on the cave.
No, I mean, I think it makes sense because, you definitely get your kicks having the enemies in the caves. You don't necessarily need the enemies in the overworld, I will say. So you wanted to focus on the caves specifically. And that really interests me because I think of specific caves like Glutton's Kitchen. Like Glutton's Kitchen was only 2 floors. Was there a reason for that?
Yeah, there was a reason for the way I made all the caves.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to have like a difficulty scale for like each one of them in like a specific order.
Okay.
I wanted to have like a legitimate attempt in having a suggested cave order,
Mm-hmm.
but I couldn't exactly enforce it because people do whatever they want at the end of the day. So I only put the order in the README as like a suggestion.
Right, actually, yeah, I remember reading that. Here's another question for you. What kind of challenges did you encounter while developing Pikmin 2 Kaizo? What do you think the most difficult piece of the game was to modify?
Definitely the overworld were pretty difficult, even though it's still like a basic text file format with like different parameters.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting them to work.
Sure. So then even just kind of backing up a little bit. So when it comes to modifying Pikmin 2, or maybe any Pikmin game, it's text.
Text files.
Sure.
Some of it is numbers, other parts is like names, like enemy names, but the overworld specifically used identification numbers for everything. For example, if I wanted to replace the cloaking burrow knit with a red bulborb,
sure,
I'll need to find the number somewhere.
Okay, so does each enemy kind of have its own designated number? Like, let's say the red bulborb is 1 and the burrow knit's 5, and then you would just swap that number in the text file, and then it would change out the enemy?
With some difficulty, yeah.
Sure, okay.
And this only applied to the overworld.
Okay.
In the cave files themselves, it was basically just have the name of the enemy in question, which is not necessarily the burrow knit.
Sure.
It's just called armor in the files.
Okay, yeah. I would hope you wouldn't have to spell out cloaking burrow knit every time you wanted a burrow knit, on a sub-level. That sounds like it's terrible without a lot of copy and paste. Was there any particular cave, let's not include the bonus cave, but of those previously existing caves that you did modify, is there any one of those caves that you're specifically proud of? Or one that sticks out to you most fondly in your memory?
That would be the shower room.
The shower room, okay.
Yeah, I wanted to have this alternating theme for it, which is basically Toady Bloisters and the jelly float.
Mm-hmm.
And all the while, fish would fall down from the ceiling. All those tadpoles.
Yeah.
When I first went into that cave, I was legitimately a little scared of it. Yeah, every cave has a certain theme to it.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it doesn't look like it, it exists.
I want you to know that Pikmin 2 Kaizo gave me a form of PTSD that I don't think I'll ever recover from. And for those of you watching at home, I know I'm not good at Pikmin. You don't need to keep telling me in the comments. I understand.
When you beat Kaizo, you definitely have skill.
Yeah. You know what? We'll put it on the resume. Yeah. Oh, was there any enemy that is particularly large, as far as size, or how much memory it takes up, so you didn't you weren't able to use too many of them?
It's a little difficult to tell.
Sure.
When there's so many enemies. It's just something that I got used to over time.
Mm-hmm.
I started to understand after a while just how much the game could take without crashing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you wanted to cover the Perplexing Pool Cave at all. Like, I don't know if you had anything like prepared for it or wanted to talk on what it includes, or if that's a spoiler, and just get good and go down all the floors and you'll find out.
In a way, it is like get good type of scenario, but it's also like not a cave a lot of people would actually want to go down.
But is there anything special about it?
I think there might be.
There might be.
In the cave that I made like for glory, but also in like a testing zone.
Okay.
Not necessarily a testing zone for the Kaizo you see here.
Oh, so it's a testing zone for something else.
Maybe the sequel that I have not touched for a few years.
Okay, but Pikmin 2 Kaizo 2, you heard it here first, folks. It is in existence, at least.
I did make like a teaser video with like footage from like a single sub-level of the first cave.
Oh, wow. I can link that video in the description for those of you who want to take a look at Pikmin 2 Kaizo 2, or at least a little snippet of gameplay from it. Why did you decide to make the sprays, like the ultra spicy spray and the ultra bitter spray? Why did you decide to make them 3 berries instead of more, or just remove them entirely?
I've seen like plenty of Kaizo games. Like in the past, some were named Kaizo, some weren't named Kaizo. And I've noticed 2 different gameplay elements for the Kaizo lineage. I don't know what to call it, but
yeah, like the namesake of Kaizo.
Yeah, I've seen something Kaizo like start brutal and stay brutal, and I've seen some like this Kaizo, which goes from really easy and gradually get to the level of Kaizo. But when I was making this, I was terrible. I was terrible at the game.
Like terrible at playing Pikmin 2?
Yeah, like really bad.
Well, I mean, you got good.
Here's the thing about this mod. I was bad at a lot of games. Like any game genre you could drop, I was just awful. But nowadays, it's like I'm good at a lot of video games, all thanks to this right here.
Oh, so you think that Kaizo trained you in the art of dealing with with games that are a little more difficult because it was so difficult?
Yeah, it basically got my video game senses way up.
Okay. That's coming directly from the developer, guys. Like, if you want to get your video game skills on point, like, play Pikmin 2 Kaizo. Just get it over with. Just do it. Download it right now. All links in the description. If you want to play it, you want to... I don't want to say suffer, because suffer's not the right word. To me, the cave that stuck out the most, or at least, one of the caves that stuck out the most, was the Dream Den. I thought that there was a lot of really pretty good ideas, like, in here, with certain elements that were combined. Like, this specifically, like, this is hard to look at.
Yeah, I kind of understand that.
But that's intentional, though, from my understanding, right?
Yeah, the texture is intentional. The glitching of it, I couldn't really control.
Okay. So then, we're talking about what makes a game Kaizo. And, this is kind of the big question that I get a lot, and I'm sure that you've kind of seen, is that, like, what do you think makes the game Kaizo?
Obviously, people are not a fan of enemy spam. Like, that's something I understand.
To defend the Kaizo portion of the game, the game being called Kaizo in general, in a game like Pikmin, there's so very little that's kind of under your control compared to something like Mario, where you can place each individual block and, decide to make traps here or there, or have this be really precise. Like, Pikmin it's not really that kind of game. You know, like even the sub levels, they're randomly generated. So even that, you know, you can't, for the most part, control. From my understanding, you can control some sub levels, right?
If the sub levels are like pre-built or have like a singular idea associated with it, like for example, there's some unique single room levels in like the vanilla game. Like the first floor is Nagrit Hole in like a tree house. You know, I couldn't like use things like that, but I decided to only like use every single thing that's available for like the randomness of it.
So you're saying you couldn't use those more specific sub-level layouts because they like you couldn't edit them as much?
Well, those single room levels don't have a lot of space in them that is available to you. Like each one of these areas has like a few spots that can be utilized, but I didn't feel like, you know, going through all the compression to add more spots to them.
Okay, I gotcha. 4.5-ish years ago was when Pikmin 2 Kaizo was first released. Now, looking back on the project just as a whole, what about it? And obviously, you know, you're working on a sequel. What are some of the things that you want to specifically touch on to change or improve or, you know, even just make different?
You mean like what kind of changes would I make it?
Yeah,
like, I want to make it better.
So like, you know, I know myself as a creator, like I'll put my all into something and I'll have it be like a complete package, send it, ready to go. But then I like watch it back and I'm like, like, you know, I really should have changed this part, or this doesn't look too good, or I wish this didn't work that way. Is there anything like that you think about this game that you'd like to change?
I've thought about that before. This is version 1.1, where I did make some changes that I kind of wanted to make.
Okay. I played 1.0.
Yeah, which has, you know, the treasure radar and the knapsack. They're in Dream Den. The depth is 25,000. In 1.1, I lowered the depth to 13,000.
That's good.
You want to know why the depth was 25,000?
Oh god, please tell me.
I had a particular mindset when I like played Pikmin 2 like casually. And that was basically collect everything, including all enemies.
So you're telling me that if I collected everything in every cave, like prior to unlocking the Wistful Wild, right? Not having to go back through caves, I would have 25,000.
You would have over 26,000.
So that means that I didn't collect 7,000 Poco's worth of enemies in the caves on my first go around. Did you change any enemies like properties or like anything like that? Like health or regeneration or anything like that?
Only in the later version.
Only the later. Yeah, I mean, I know that there's the really cracked Kaizo, you know, version where everything's going crazy, and I'm not sure who I saw play that. That might have been Quote Balrog. He might have done the Kaizo like 2.1 or whatever the hell it was called.
Yeah, he played 2.0.
2.0. Okay, yep.
The thing is that I made that version as a joke. It was only supposed to be for me.
Yeah,
for some reason,
I will never play that. People have asked me to, and I'm like, no, I've already done the regular, and there already exists a playthrough of 2.0 on a different person's channel. Like, please don't make me do that. So then, okay, so before we dive into, you know, the final floor, you know, let's talk a little bit about the thought process behind its creation.
Well, the thought process behind the creation is, I was going through like how Dream Den has a bunch of different colored lights. You know, like green, red, blue, dark.
Like how
think there was
the
yellow as
floors
well.
are tinted a little bit differently?
Yeah, all that lighting is custom. Like, I went through the light files, which is text files,
Yeah.
and I had to do like a little Google translating, and I thought about doing different colors. I can actually show you an image.
Yeah, I
that
mean,
kept.
feel free to send that over Discord. I'll pop it on screen right here for you folks at home.
I don't remember if I used this lighting specifically,
Mhm.
but I do remember testing this in the Emergence Cave, the one in Valley of Repose.
Oh, okay. So this is like an orangish lighting.
It was me testing out the colors,
Yeah.
and then probably, like, me doing this was probably something that maybe wasn't good in hindsight, because I also tested the final lighting in this very level.
The final lighting being no lighting.
Yeah, yeah, that probably was a little bit of like oversight on my part.
Mhm.
You know, being the developer, I can put whatever wherever. I thought Dream Den itself would be like a good lead up to this, but apparently not.
I think it's just how it's very starkly different. You know, you have to play this particular sub level very differently than you do how you've played the entire game so far up to this point. You know, you get to see the steam, and then you get like the shadows on the ship and like little bits of Firefly like interaction, and also the whistle. The whistle's definitely a really good tip. It's definitely the hardest thing I've had to do in Pikmin, period. I will give you credit on that. This, for sure, qualifies as that. But I wonder, you know, if it would have made sense to also have had this level be like this, but then also have a couple more dark levels, like earlier in the game, in like earlier sub-levels. You know what I mean? Like if you had like a dark one in Emergence Cave, or a dark one like, I don't know, Glutton's Kitchen or something.
Yeah, I understand it. Like I said, it was an issue for some people because I didn't have any preparation beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like any previous floors.
So then I'm curious about the HP bars then. Like, did you have to edit those separately, or does that kind of come filtered with the light?
It comes filtered with the light.
Okay.
Do you want to see this sub-level?
I would love to see the sub-level.
And Dolphin has a little thing called Disable Fog. Let's see if this works in real time. Oh. Well, that isn't ominous or anything. This was a bad layout.
What?
Kind of.
Oh my god. Yeah, this is insane to watch just after the fact. All right, so as our time comes to a close, is there anything you would like to let the viewers know? You plug yourself. You know, this is your moment.
Don't really know what to say specifically. No, I've never been a content creator before. Like, since technically the first time I've like really used my voice this much.
Yeah.
And I don't really do commentated videos yet either.
Mm-hmm.
If there is something that I can say, like, it's been a good experience.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I'm very happy to have you on the show. I mean, I think that, you know, doing this style of interview, there's a lot of benefits to it because it becomes more conversational. And then also just kind of being able to, you know, laugh about things and do whatever. So, you know, I definitely appreciate you coming on and giving all this insight into Pikmin to Kaizo. That is going to be all for this first episode of Developer Dive. If you guys enjoy the content, you literally already know what to do. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe if you feel like it. You can ring the bell. You don't have to. Follow me on Twitch. Join our Discord. Follow me on Twitter. All that sort of stuff. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you all for watching. And of course, till next time.